So today it is my husband's funeral, which unfortunately I cannot make because obviously I am busy here in Tunisia. I would have loved to have gone. We were together for 17 years. Unfortunately for me, he did decide to die on the week I had planned to come on holiday. So I did make the decision not to go
That's crazy. Women actually say that.
Every woman, bro. Watch this. Excuse me. Quick question. Would you rather be stuck in a forest with a man or a bear?
Bear.
Why the bear?
Because men are very unpredictable sometimes when they're straight, usually.
You don't think the bear's unpredictable?
No, because I'm a crazy bitch, so I'll scare it.
You could take a bear?
Yeah, I'm Colombian. I could take the bear.
How would you take a bear?
By screaming and being big like you're supposed to.
How big can you get? Can you show me? You have no chance. Now do you believe me that every woman chooses the bear?
Oh, hoes be wildin'. I ain't gonna. That's one thing I learned, bro.
Scan complete.
We know. Facts. Marriage is overwhelmingly unsuccessful. It is way more dangerous than skydiving. Yes, you die from the skydiving, but the chances of a catastrophic skydiving incident is like 0.0003, and one where you die is 0.00001. It's like very limited, the chances of dying from skydiving. Whereas the chances of divorce, again, 56% divorce rate. How many stay together who are unhappy and they just stay together because they don't give up half their stuff or for religious reasons or whatever? This is a technology with an unbelievably bad failure rate.
Do more people die from marriage or skydiving?
I think more people wish they were dead from marriage than skydiving. I think most people's sense of self, many people's sense of self dies as part of an unhappy marriage. Like, it's not a question of will you die. It's that you're alive and not living your life in a way that's enjoyable or in a way that's authentic to who you are. And I think a lot of people are doing that as a function of the choice that they made of marriage. When someone says, I'm getting married, why is it impolite to say, why? Why? You're about to do something incredibly dangerous that fails so much of the time. Why not just say, why? I'm not saying, why would you do that? It's stupid. I'm saying, why? Because most people's answer doesn't make any sense. First of all, you're not even allowed to ask the question why. If anything, if you don't say, oh my God, that's so great, you have intimacy issues.
And this is why they're leaning toward brain scans before therapy, because sometimes there's nothing wrong in the first place, other than one's resistance to propaganda considered to be factual. Guys, for us, marriage in the modern world is a losing game. It's obvious already. That said, there are still a lot of people who see it as a sacred institution. They'll claim it's better to take the leap than to have never taken the leap at all. But honestly, this all appears transparent. It's an attempt to appeal to masculinity in a perverse way, challenging a lot of dudes to just take the risk. Are you not secure? You're not man enough? Or the classic, what are you afraid of?
Nobody calls me chicken.
It's stupid, it's shameless, and yet for decades, this was actually enough to make guys sign contracts and gamble on everything they stand for. That is, until the last 30 years, especially when the internet was at our fingertips. Now the red flags are 3 taps away, and we know what will happen if we respond to anything like this. Well, at least some of us. When I was looking for reference content, I came across the last clip here, and there was a sarcastic comment that read, "For some reason, as a divorce lawyer, all I see are couples getting divorced. It's the weirdest thing." To this I say, you might be a divorce lawyer, but sir, or ma'am, whoever you are, the numbers, they're real.
They come to America.
I hate being fucking married. I long for the day to be single again. The only thing that's causing me to stay and stick it out is because I've been a housewife for 10 years. And to get back out there in the workforce with a mental illness, there's some fears that I have. But I literally do hate being married. So y'all know how I say that I always use my content to push my pain into purpose, make y'all laugh. A lot of this pain is connected to my marriage. A lot of it. I just try my hardest not to put it out there, and I'm still not going to go into details.
That's good.
But just know that this shit is not fucking gold.
And it's not
and no matter how much I try, no matter what I do, at the end of the day, I still just want the fuck out. I want to be single. I know I can love myself better alone than anybody can love me with them. I love who I am, but I do not love who I am with this person. I hate being fucking married. And on my life, once this shit is over, I would never fucking get married again.
Now all of China knows you're here.
A husband put his wife on a strict allowance after she racked up $150,000 in debt.
This is a clip I shared in another reaction, and I just wanted to share the content she's referring to. It's a great horror story for the people that think men are, quote, afraid. The Redditor describes the situation with, "When we married, we decided to not fully combine our finances. We have a shared account in which I fund 3/4 and she funds 1/4. We use this account to pay the mortgage, utilities, grocery, etc. We also have our separate accounts where we deposit the rest of our money. We're responsible for our own investments and cars. Things worked well for a couple years until recently she came to me crying. It turns out my wife is not good with her money and owes $150,000 spread over several credit cards and her car loan.
Sweet Jesus.
Unless she wins the lottery, there's no way she would be able to pay off her debt, and I didn't want her to mess up her credit by declaring bankruptcy. I decided to loan her the money to pay off the debt on strict conditions. I will take over her finances, including receiving her income. She will be placed on a strict allowance and budget. She will have to ask permission to buy anything over $50 and have to go by my judgment. Once she pays me back the money, she can take control of her own finances. She argued against the conditions until I pointed out I don't have $150,000 in cash stuffed in the couch. I will have to sell some assets, including stocks that are currently performing well. If I loan her the money, it will cost me money. She finally agreed. This weekend, we were at a dinner party where, after too many drinks, some of the women decided they wanted to take a girls' trip a few weekends from now. My wife turned to me to ask me if she could go, and I answered, no, it's not in her budget. I'll spare you the details of the argument that erupted, but the TLDR version is that I'm a misogynist pig who keeps her on a leash. Some argued I should have bailed her out with conditions because there should be none in a marriage. The hurtful part is that she didn't once defend me. So was I wrong to put those conditions on her? No, you were not. In fact, I think you were far too generous.
I'm basically just saying, just start helping me with the bills for the next 2 months until I get back on my feet.
What do I look like?
To me, what you look like?
Do I look like I pay bills?
I mean, you look like you're my girl, right? You love me.
I'm not your girl. I'm your baby mother.
We go to sleep every night. I live here, you live here. I pay the bills here. I've been paying the bills since we moved here.
Okay.
And I've been holding you down. But look, but why not though? I don't
You promised me a bag next week though, so what we doing about that since your money low all of a sudden?
I mean, right now I'm not in a position to spend $10,000 on a Chanel bag. We got $10,000.
You better get in the position before somebody takes your position.
I mean, what you mean somebody gonna take my position?
I don't want nobody broke. I'm not going 50-50 on nothing.
I'm just saying, I've invested tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of dollars, into your salon. Everything been going good. You getting money. I ain't never asked you for a dime. All I'm asking you for right now, hear me out before you talk. I just told you I'm going through some shit right now. Time is hard. What my business. Let me talk. Let me talk.
You're out of here.
So today is my husband's funeral, which unfortunately I cannot make because obviously I am busy here in Tunisia. I would have loved to have gone. We were together for 17 years. Unfortunately for me, he did decide to die on the week I had planned to come on holiday. So I did make the decision not to go because, I need a holiday at the end of the day, and my holiday is way more important than sitting in a church watching people cry. I would love to give him a good send-off, so I'm going to get absolutely drunk tonight with this new guy that I met, and I'm going to raise a glass for you, Jeremy, because you were an amazing husband, very rich. I can't wait to do the will reading when I'm home. I have made sure I'm going to be home in time to do the will reading because I would not miss that for the world, because obviously I am due to get a lot of money. And that's a very, very important thing to me. So I hope you have a good funeral today, Jeremy. Love you.
If this shocks you, welcome to the world beyond. If it doesn't, well, here's another affirmation. The man in this story isn't a special case. In fact, I've read a massive number of emails where men, before getting cheated on or separated, deal with the same thing, if not worse. On a thread posted separately, people of course asked for details from this dude, like does she have a job or what does the home life look like, to which she responded, "Hello all, I read some of your comments at lunch and continue to read them. When I got home from work, she started another round of arguments about the trip. I pointed out she has no money, at which she pointed out that she hasn't hit the limit on one of her credit cards, and that card should cover her for a weekend. So I drove back to my office and will spend the night here. To answer some of your questions. 1. Our shared account pays for everything in the house. For example, a few weeks ago, we bought a new cookware set from Costco, and that money came from the shared account. She works a full-time job, minus her contribution to the shared account. The rest of her income is hers to spend as she wishes. I cover things we do together like dinners, dates, and vacations. The principal amount she owes is about $120,000, of which about half is her car loan. The rest consists of interest and late fees. I didn't bring up her debt in front of our friends because I wanted to protect her reputation. I haven't liquidated anything. I'm working with my advisor and broker to decide what to liquidate to take the least financial and tax hit. She doesn't gamble. I looked over her bills and it looked like she spent her money on dinners, drinks, and shopping with her friends. We've been married for less than 5 years and do not have children. We talked about starting a family in a couple of years.
Jesus Christ.
This video is for married men. Do you have anything to say to single men?
Well, yes. Yes, I do, and I'm willing to bet the ladies, they're going to lose their minds over what I'm about to say to my young gentlemen friends, which is this. Don't do it. Just don't. Look, I'm all for marriage, and it should be something to strive for. But, and this is a big but, the risk nowadays far outweighs any reward. 55% of all marriages end up in divorce, most often filed by the woman because she's bored or thinks she can do better. That's an absolute reality. And those 45% that do stay together, well, roughly a third of the men in them are miserable, but staying due to finances or the kids. Remember, even the so-called good ones can be turned, especially once all her jealous girlfriends start telling her for months or years even that you're a loser and she can do better. And in that divorce, you'll almost certainly lose everything. Lose your house, the good car, your pets, access to the kids, and a good portion of your income for years to come. So while marriage used to be the ideal, it isn't anymore. Instead, what I would do is choose to live together, if anything. Set up a trust that owns all your property so she can't get access to it. Have a written agreement between you that she is to pay 50% of the mortgage as rent, as well as 50% of the other bills. Protect yourselves, gentlemen, and your assets as best as you can, because trust me, my young friends, today's modern women are always looking to cash in. They don't actually believe in commitment at all, and their word has been proven to be absolutely meaningless. The truth is, they're always looking to upgrade, and the minute she thinks she can, she's going to toss you aside and try and take as much from you as she can as her reward. Like it or not, that's the reality. And yes, that is sad, but it is what it is, and it's not going to change anytime soon.
Here, here.
It's fucking ice. That is not funny. You take out the trash. I just fucking fell on dry ice. Literally. That's fucking ice and it's not funny. You take out the trash. Bro. Right. Like, bro. That shit is not funny. That's ice. Does it never throw it away? No. Are you serious?
The greatest judge of men is men. Modern marriage adds unwarranted layers to that. And Buddy from the Reddit post, or the few others I've come across that still do this sort of thing, unfortunately, I'm about to judge you. This woman that you're referring to in this awful story, she's not a wife. She's a leech. Liquidating assets to bail her out year after year can and will destroy you. And in the end, you'll be lucky if you have a dog and studio apartment in someone else's name. At the start, you mentioned that you found her crying. That was crying for you, man, so that you'd pity her and give her exactly what she wants to move forward with the same behavior. And here, when you said, unless she wins the lottery, there's no way she would be able to pay off her debt, and I didn't want her to mess up her credit by declaring bankruptcy. I decided to loan her the money to pay off the debt on strict conditions. Dude, none of this is your concern. It shouldn't be a concern for any man. You can tell me that this person is a combination between the 10 greatest looking chicks on the planet, and this is still a nightmare I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. But in a nutshell, this is what the Western modern marriage often is, and it only gets worse with time.
Your name, your age, and your occupation? Zadra, 25, and I'm a model and influencer. Okay, Zadra, and why'd you pop your balloon? Pride and arrogance. Okay. And is she your type?
No.
Okay. What makes her not your type?
What did you say you do again?
I'm a runway model. And
Runway?
I'm on storefronts, billboards, magazines. I actually model.
What kind of magazine?
A lot. Not Vogue yet, but a lot.
Hey, which magazine?
A lot. Many.
Huh?
Many.
Many?
Many.
You have a specific magazine that you want to say?
Many. You could search. Just search my name.
I'm going to say I'm not interested because she's lying.
Zadra James. How you know she's lying? There's a storefront in Houston right now if you want to see for
Tell me she didn't
yourself.
say. I mean, if you say, like, I'm an IT consultant, if you ask me about my business, I would tell you about my business. If you say you're a model, where?
You'll see. I promise you. Once
Hey,
you walk out
okay.
here.
I like that. Okay. I like her outfit, though.
Okay.
But, yeah.
You still have one balloon.
I have one? Oh, one person? Hey.
Here's the funny thing. A woman wants to show up to you broken and say, hey, big, strong man, put together the pieces. But they expect you to show up with 6 figures, a 6-pack, 6 feet of height, and everything that they ever wanted. And here's the funny thing. When you actually have that, you still will be underappreciated when you're dealing with the wrong women. For example, I have a 6-pack, I have 6 figures, I have 6 feet plus of height, and still I'm middle tier. So imagine if the dude in the big house with the Maybach and the Rolls Royce and the i8 and property in different places and bank account and stock portfolio and foreign bank accounts, who does all these exciting hobbies, who's traveled to a ton of countries, has a bunch of experience and important friends and great education. If that guy's middle tier, just imagine how they look at you.
None of the women on these shows ever leave having learned anything. If it goes against what they think, they just automatically dismiss it completely without ever putting an ounce of thought into whether it's actually true or not. Men, marriage is a job, just not the way it's advertised. According to the feminists, they should be able to live the life of Hunter S. Thompson, live to the fullest, worn out, and proclaiming, wow, what a ride. But that's not what any man wants, nor is it what any man deserves. From the modern female perspective, the only way to be a true hero is to introduce a woman into your life with baggage to spare. If she hasn't run through clubs, that in return run through her, spent every cent in a quote shared bank account, managed to ostracize her family with her behavior, and looks like a veteran fan of a derby in the middle of the desert, then you're taking the easy route. They don't, and in many ways can't see it any other way.
Stop. Stop. See, that's why I'm recording. Because the cops ain't gonna believe this shit.
Wow.
When my husband and I met, it was great. I had plenty of it. I enjoyed it. He enjoyed it. We had fun together. And then once I knew I had him, I put walls up. I didn't want to get undressed around him anymore. If he came in and he tried to hug me, I would jerk away. And I had all kinds of stories built up about why I was doing this. I denied to myself the real reasons why, which is what most of us as women do. I didn't withdraw it or withhold it completely. Women listening who are open-minded, you'll know that we have this mental calendar where it's like, okay, I had it. That'll probably buy me a week or two, and then that time starts running out and we start building this anxiety of when we're going to need to engage with again, to give just enough to make it seem just enough to keep getting what we want. And we let our stories and our games begin. And the sad part is that a good man falls for all those stories.
Men, if you really want marriage and you're still in a modern society, go to a haunted house. It's much, much cheaper. Chicks will say that this is a dramatic and immature statement, but I don't care. And we all know it's true. Every corner will be another unnecessary struggle brought on by a woman that feels they have it in the bag. And the scary part is, far scarier than any haunted house, is that if you put a ring on it, they're probably right. I brought up that, in my youth, I spent a lot of time in places like California, and the marriage laws over there are brutal, I'm telling you. Your spouse could have lit the car on fire and thrown your war medals into a river, and the judge is still likely to say that you drove her to it. And all of this comes back to one simple reality. The modern era has conditioned institutions, once masculine and just To look at women as the victims in any given scenario, whether it be single moms or hardened female criminals, it's not their fault. There was apparently always a bad man behind her pulling the strings.
Did you have another questions that you wanted to ask over to the ladies?
Yeah, I'm gonna get right into an important
all
question.
right.
And it's not necessarily a deal breaker, so I don't want anybody to think that, but do you already have kids, is my question.
Yes, I already have children, and I do not want any more.
Jesus.
Yes, I do have 2 kids, 2
No,
boys.
no.
And I don't want any more either.
Okay.
Nope, I have no kids, just fur babies. That's about it.
Okay.
I respect it.
Okay.
7 to be exact.
Damn! 7 dogs?
3 children,
Okay.
and they are young adults.
Okay.
And I am not looking to have any more.
Okay.
It is my time.
I hear you.
I'm
You right.
traveling.
Yes.
I'm traveling.
You in your era.
All these girls talking about they got kids already and don't want no more. He can't even start a new family.
But the whole gaming thing,
What's the problem? Jacqueline has this big problem too, because
it's just lazy. It feels like unless you're getting paid, and there's a line, right? Like it's cool if you want to do it every so often, but to me, I'm like, go educate, like go do something productive.
But what is the problem? Like, you know, Jacqueline has a big problem with it too. Whenever she hears the PlayStation start up, like I gotta
Here
hear
we
the huffing and
go.
puffing.
Yeah.
But if I were to just have TV on, you'd be on TikTok as it is, not paying attention.
It's not that,
so why does it bother you?
Because it's not the distraction of me being on TikTok and us watching TV. It's what you could be doing with that time.
There it is, and that's it. I knew it.
It's
I knew
what
it.
you could-
You women want to task us bad
No.
that you're so pissed
No.
that we're taking time from doing something.
No.
Wait a minute, you're enjoying things? You have time to do this video game?
Here's the thing.
Here's all the things you could be doing.
Here's the thing. You're enjoying it, but you could also be planning something nice for us. You know, like...
Guys, ladies, it's not about happily ever after, it's about peace. The thing about men that really contributes to their value is that most are perfectly fine with fighting out in the open world. They work on oil rigs, go to war, anything to provide for the ones they care about. But at the end of the day, the campaign, the job, they just want to come home to a silent room and collect their thoughts before plunging into chaos another time. But with modern women, that's just an impossibility.
How tall are you?
How much do you weigh?
How much money you got?
How many bodies do you got?
What's your credit score?
Do you have any student loan debt?
Do you pay all the bills?
Do you cook and clean?
How big is it?
How wide is it?
Check.
Ladies, this is the cause of the dating pool shrinking. Why rings don't fly off the shelves, and why you say you can't find a, quote, good man. It's not because you are educated, professional, or independent. It's because you're a liability. One that, luckily, many of us haven't had to deal with in a long time. And if you made it to the end of this video, I want to say I appreciate you. So don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment to have a chance to be featured, and hit that sub button to approve of our message. And we now have an official second channel, Man Guide Reacts. Link is down in the description. We got fresh content, gonna be trying some new stuff over there, so subscribe to that for new content. I appreciate all the continued support, and I want to wish you all tremendous success. See ya in the next one.